Welcome to your Daily Dose. My name is Robert. It's my pal Susan. Hi, Susan.
Howdy, howdy, howdy.
Well, we've been talking some day one, and I want to continue that series because we're on step 6 of 12. For those who don't know, day one, PD Superheroes, a heroic journey, narrative intervention type of thing you can check out at yesandexercise.com. The first 5 episodes are already up here. Subscribe, like, follow, look, all that good stuff. Today's the day. We're talking about a place, and I love, yeah, go ahead and show the people. That is our map, as it were. After we've crossed that line up there on the side there, you can't quite see the number, but that line puts us into the special world. And that's where we are now. Special
Yeah, we
world
are.
involves tests, allies, and enemies. So this is a phase 2 where not only are we engaging in the special world, I think this is where, based on some of the post interviews I've been having with people who've gone through the program, it becomes highly individualized, right? That I think up until this point, you can kind of follow along. I've given directions as the Sherpa. Yeah, that's what we're doing. But now all of a sudden it's like, well, what does that mean? Test allies and enemies. It kind of opens up. Did you experience that?
Um, yes, Robert, and they all go together. So you figure out who's the ally and who's not by virtue of the test.
Right.
And most of the people I talked to, including me, had the same enemy. Number one enemy,
Yeah.
ourselves.
Talk to me
Oh
about
my
that.
gosh.
Talk to me about that self-sabotage thing. That's so big. And yeah,
Yes. It is. It's so big in life, and you don't expect it. I mean, I don't think of myself as my own enemy, but when I was able to do the writing and kind of dig down, time and again, I discovered it was an old memory or an old voice in my head or an old story.
right. And that's so important because it may have been someone else saying the words, this, that, and the other, but it's up to us as the individuals to hold on to that or to value that thing, right? We've made that thing an enemy, maybe without even knowing it.
Wow, we made that thing an enemy. Wow.
Yeah.
You're right, because the other person said it, and I could shrug it off. And many people would, right? Whatever the thing was,
Right.
not be affected by it the same way. So we all bring our own sensitivities, our own priorities of where where our heart gets hurt or our mind gets paralyzed.
Yeah. And it's a point too. It's interesting because the tests you speak toward the training, I like that within that, our vulnerabilities are exposed. Maybe our belief systems are exposed. You mentioned that, how they're tied together. I like how you did that.
Yeah.
And that, it takes a good mentor, who we've said at this point, to observe us going through the test and maybe to test us in certain ways.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And, have you experienced that where you've had various types of mentors look at you and say, hey, by the way?
Yes, and quite recently, and only one of them had me lean into the problem. Almost everyone else wanted to, and it's beautiful. I mean, cast a positive spin, and that's valuable and important and part of it. But so is leaning in, and until you really, walk through the fire, you don't necessarily. At least my experience is there may be something still down in there that's
Yeah.
affecting you.
Well, and most people probably in that frame, like you're saying, would rather not. It can get uncomfortable, right? I mean, nobody likes to suffer. That's kind of a basic template. We like to avoid pain and suffering. And yet, if something becomes normalized, we may have just gotten to a level of tolerance for the pain and suffering that this enemy is causing us that is there for no other reason than we say it gets to be there.
Well, that was significant when you said that a minute ago. We say it's there and we keep it there. What's wrong with this picture?
Right.
Right. So that's us being the enemy. The ally part of it was magical for me to discover places I found allies that I didn't anticipate. So
You make room for new allies when you shed old enemies, right? There is a finite amount of space, what you're carrying with you. And you take something out of your pack, nature hates a vacuum, you're hanging out with now allies, maybe an ally jumps in.
and maybe the allies me too.
You made space for you, that version of yourself.
saying yes.
That's awesome. We're gonna take all those allies into our next step because it's an important one, the approach to the inmost cave. See you next time.
Okay.